deal with airplane peanuts.
Have you guys met before, or is this purely like just met professionally this evening?
We already go over this? Yeah. There he is! The cum guy!
You've always been a big dude. Did you play football?
Yeah.
You didn't? You did nothing with that body?
Talk to me. Don't back down now.
The trend of crowd work has fully taken over stand-up comedy. What started off as an emergency tactic used by comedians to get out of a jam on stage has recently flourished into its own category within the art form, with thousands of clips being shared online by comics every day. Crowd work has become so common that new comedy fans expect audience interaction at every show, no matter who's on stage.
It was weirder back then. I remember being on the road and you'd be in the green room and you heard the host go into the crowd. You're like, what's going on? And you would put your ear to the door like, is everything all right?
Yeah.
Because it was like a strange moment to do crowd work. Now it's go-to.
Which can often lead to accidental heckling.
Do you think, what do you think about all these crowd work clips? Don't you think we're breeding this? I feel like it's a
100%.
very bad situation.
It's not a bad situation.
Now we've reached the point where Netflix is set to premiere their first fully improvised crowdwork special on August 13th with Matt Rife Lucid. And in this video, we are breaking down all of the biggest problems with the crowdwork trend, why it got so popular in the first place, and specifically what this means for Matt Rife's new special. Crowdwork can either be really good or really bad. There's no denying an off-the-cuff joke being delivered like written material adds another level of excitement and authenticity to live comedy, which makes the show feel customized to your exact experience. But that's best case scenario. Like most industries, social media and technology have changed the way comedians orchestrate their entire careers. Right now, the basic off-stage strategy to make it as a comedian seems to be building up a strong following online through posting clips and going on podcasts in order to eventually convert those internet fans into real-life tickets on the road. The problem is, most of the jokes comedians tell on stage can't be posted online because the comics either still need those jokes on the road, or they're saving it for a special, or the joke's not completely done yet. Basically, most comics aren't able or willing to burn real material by posting it online for everyone to see, which is why crowd work has become so popular. All of these jokes are completely dispensable and really only make sense for the exact context in that exact moment, making perfect clips for the online content machine, along with insanely topical premises like the Trump shooting or Hawk Tuah girl. The pressure to post creates a dangerous incentive for comedians to be constantly mining for crowd interactions, even sometimes doing question and answer sessions at the end of the show to increase chances of catching something worth posting on camera. Obviously, all the real pros can pull this off, but weekly or even daily uploads becoming the norm has led thousands of crowdwork clips to be uploaded that never should have seen the light of day. Half the time, the audience member is the one saying something funny, and the rest of the video is literally just the comedian laughing on stage. Now again, this is not at all what Matt Rife or most Netflix-level comedians are doing, but everyone who's grinding their ass off on the open mic level is now almost forced into using this blueprint that might not be in their best interest.
The thing about crowd work is it's always funnier when you're there, but it's always funnier because everyone knows it's happening live and you don't know what's going to happen, and neither does a comedian. They know it's completely improvised.
Well, that's why it works, because obviously comedy's about getting everybody to be like, oh yeah, and if they're seeing it live, it just happened.
Good point.
So, but DePaulo used to always say that, I worked with Nick for years, and he'd be like, oh, you're funny off the cuff? Yeah, that's called being funny. That's easy. Write some material, you fuck.
Yeah, if you can do both, that's great. But some people only do one or the other.
There's tricks to it, obviously.
You definitely don't want to encourage people to interrupt people who don't do crowd work, though. And that's where it becomes a problem when people are drunk and they think, I'm going to get on a video.
This trend has also transformed crowd work from an emergency parachute for comedians who are out of material or dealing with an unusual situation in the crowd into just another part of the job. Now the comedians are doing stand-up for the random number of people who might scroll past this on their phone instead of the 200 paying customers sitting there in real life. Comedians performing stand-up for a digital audience might seem normal if you're entering comedy in 2024, but it sure is different than how it started.
I was at the Cellar once with Jimmy, with Fallon. He just wanted to watch comedy. Like he just was like, I want to get back into it. I want to watch comedy. And we were all sitting in the back and at the VU, and we watched like the first like 3 comics, and they all did crowd work. It was like the host, and he was like, what is this? And Michael was like, "This is like kind of comedy now."
Yes.
That'd be so funny if that just influenced his monologue the next night.
Yeah,
He's like, look at this bitch in the front row.
Yeah.
It should be said that good crowd work does exist, and when it's done authentically, some really insane and hilarious moments do happen. And although it's usually better in person, crowd work is still impressive to see, because the implication is these jokes were on the fly and off the cuff. Kinda like what Tony Hinchcliffe does during the interview portions with the bucket pulls, making jokes on the spot about their physical appearance, careers, or whatever other information they volunteer. Matt Rife is really good at this too, and his audience demo is so unique that his crowd work clips are always one-of-one situations where the interaction ends with legit punchlines every time.
Thank you. You have a gift for me as well? Will you give it to security so you don't get in trouble? And then they'll give it to me backstage. I promise I'll get it after the show. Is it head? Yeah, give it to security and he'll give it to me later. Here you go.
I would be willing to bet money that his crowd work special on Netflix is going to be very funny and avoid all of the pitfalls we discussed in today's video. The only real potential drawback with Lucid is there is a chance that putting a crowd work special on Netflix will further normalize heckling to comedy noobs who just recently started watching stand-up because of Matt Rife and now come out to shows expecting to be spoken to and directly involved with the show like they see online. More people becoming fans of stand-up comedy is obviously always a good thing. Just don't talk during the show.
The problem with someone talking to the audience is it does kind of encourage the audience to talk to some future comedians if they have a point that the person disagrees with, or if they're getting to a point and you cut them off because you could say something. You know, sometimes like guys will mislead you with a bit and you're like, what is he saying? Oh, ha ha ha. But some people jump in the middle of it and f it up.
Exactly.
And they think they can because someone's been talking to them in the audience.
Exactly, yes. And they're like, oh, this is a dialogue. I got it. Perfect.
Exactly. Or it gives them an opportunity to be outraged. And now this is kind of encouraged to give feedback. It's encouraged to talk.
Guest spots from last week. The Joe Rogan Experience had on Alan Graham and Michael Malice. Matt and Shane's Secret Podcast featured Spud and Billy from War Mode. Rob Lowe stopped by UB Trippin' to discuss the Middle East. Rob also stopped by Are You Garbage? Bad Friends welcomed Jack Black to the show. Chad Daniels came all over your mom's house. Peter Dinklage was a guest on Flagrant. Jake Johnson stopped by Stavi's World. Sam Morrill took his shoes off with Rick Glassman. Andrew Dice Clay was a guest on Two Bears, One Cave. Todd Barry made it weird with Pete Holmes. Ryan Sickler took a ride on the Harland Highway. We Might Be Drunk welcomed Giannis Pappas and Sean Patton. And William Montgomery and Gary Falcon were the guests on Kill Tony.
True Nickens.
Hey!
Oh my
God, it's Gary Falcon!
It is. It's Gary Falcon. You're very excited to see him.
Yeah! I like that hat!
Hell yeah.
Thank you, Logan Palsy.
Tommy Lee was on this past weekend with Theo Vaughn. Legion of Skanks welcomed Ari Shafir and Frankie Edgar. Prof was the guest on Whiskey Ginger. Stavi's World featured Mandel and Langston Kerman. Ryan Sickler welcomed Craig Knat to the Honeydew. Roan was on Sag Daddy to Pod. Fitzdog Radio featured Brian Holtzman. Ari Shafir was the guest on the Adam Friedland Show podcast. Stavros Halkias was on You Know What Dude. Chris Porter sat on the couch with Soder. Kevin Durand stopped by Tiger Belly. Not Kevin Durant. Liz Splatt took a trip to Stuff Island. Brendan Walsh was the guest on the Duncan Trussell Family Hour. The Blocks podcast featured Simon Rich. Kareem Rama was the guest on Chrissy Chaos. Sam Morrill and Gary Veter stopped by being in with Jordan. And Mike Vecchione sat in the Wayback with Ryan Sickler. As far as new stand-up comedy specials that are either out right now or coming out soon, Joe Rogan Burn the Boats is out on Netflix after debuting live around the world last Saturday. Also out on Netflix is Chad Daniels' Empty Nester, and out on Prime Video is Sam Morrill, You've Changed. And new specials out right now on YouTube include Andrew Huggins, King of One-Liners, Gary Veter, It Could Be Worse, Nick Swartzen, Make a Joke from Face, and Lenny Schmidt, Fire Sign. We also have a few specials in the works right now that will be coming out soon. Starting off with August 20th, Langston Kerman, Bad Poetry will be out on Netflix. And in November, Hulu is kickstarting their stand-up comedy journey with new specials from Jim Gaffigan, Roy Wood Jr., Bill Burr, Chris DiStefano, and more. If you're interested in learning more about Hulu's plan to start competing with Netflix in the comedy space, feel free to check out the suggested video on the screen right now. But other than that, the Best of July 2024 video will be on the end screen right after this and contains all of the funniest moments from last month's podcasts. Also, we'll obviously be making a video about Kill Tony's Madison Square Garden show show next week. So if you want to make sure that you stay in the comedy loop, just press subscribe right now and turn on post notifications so you can get a good spot in line. Also, if you missed our last video and wondering what's going on with our new background, we've successfully arrived in Austin, Texas. Very exciting, but the studio is in complete disarray. Everything is in boxes except for this cactus and this flag, but it's gonna take a few weeks to build everything back up. Thank you for sticking with us during this transition while we transition. Thank you for watching. Again, we'll be back again next week with some more comedy news. And if you're interested in some free Joke World stickers, check out the link in the description below. Those should arrive in the mail within a few weeks. If you filled out that form and they haven't come, we have a few that got returned to sender, so send us another message on DM and we'll figure that out for you. That's all. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.
At Joke World. That's it. At Joke World.
And the world is WRLD.
That's a great YouTube channel, Joke World. Check it out.